Hey everyone, it's the Miserable Movie Man back again with another video. So I'm a pretty big Game of Thrones fan. Will admit I haven't read the books, but really enjoyed the show. Watched it, thoroughly when it came out. I'm probably not quite on the sort of super fan level of Game of Thrones as other people, but certainly it's one of the shows that I will watch. So I just finished season 2 of House of the Dragon, and here are my thoughts on how it was. I gotta say, first of all, I did enjoy season 2. I thought season 1 was probably a bit better. Season 1, I think, had, more sort of fun and intrigue in introducing the characters. Season 2 just seems like one pretty long build-up to what is going to be some potentially crazy seasons with all the fighting going on. But it was a good show. I, enjoyed, watching the leads and all the intrigue that comes with trying to gain power. And now that it's finished, obviously I can't, wait for season 3 to see how it all plays out. But there are a few things with season 2 that, I'm starting to notice a little bit, and I don't think, personally, it's as good as Game of Thrones. It's not a bad substitute, but I don't think it kind of hits the heights that Game of Thrones had. I do think that House of the Dragon is just too dark. I mentioned the intrigue, but there's a lot of intrigue, quite a bit of death, but there doesn't seem to be much levity, no sort of humor to break the tension. In Game of Thrones, we had a character like Tyrion, who was great to throw in a good line here and there, a very well-written character. In House of the Dragon, you don't get that. I don't recall many jokes throughout the show, and it just weighs heavy, right? I mean, often after I'd watched an episode of House of the Dragon, it's, I needed something lighthearted. I needed to maybe watch an episode of Seinfeld or something to get out of that headspace. I mean, everyone wants to kill each other, and, we have killing of children, killing of friends, killing of enemies, killing of dragons, killing of brothers. It's a little bit nuts in terms of how much everyone seems to either want to kill each other or doesn't like each other. Even twins are fighting in this one, and yeah, I guess it's based on the books to some degree. I'm not a reader of the book, so I can't say how accurate it is, but it's hard going. I do think some of the names are a bit confusing because people have, I guess, they're named after folks from history, and so I got a bit confused as to which which character people were referring to. Are they talking about the historical version or the current version, or the person that we've seen? I think the names and the history, which is brought out quite a bit in the show, are a little bit too much in the foreground and distract a little bit from the viewing experience. I think Game of Thrones seemed to somehow make it work, and maybe it was just more characters that I was invested in, but with the exception of a couple of sort of key characters in House of the Dragon, a lot of the names of the children and the other characters going on are a bit confusing to me. I can't always remember who's who. Maybe that's also a fact from my age. I'm not a young man anymore, so I did find it a little bit confusing. I thought that there really wasn't a lot of actual fighting or action in the show. House of the Dragon literally is showing us loads of dragons in season 2. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. In season 1, there was a bit more fighting. In Game of Thrones, there was a lot more fighting. We see some sort of build up in the battles, but I think season 3 and 4 will have more. But I do think that there could have been more fighting, action, hand-to-hand combat in season 2 of House of the Dragon. I think it was lacking in that. And of course, Game of Thrones was known for its sex and its nudity. And season 1 of House of the Dragon had that. Maybe nowhere near as much as Game of Thrones, but it had elements of that. Almost season 2, and I don't know how the seasons going forward are going to pan out, but I think they made a conscious decision that, listen, we don't need that to sell the show anymore. The show is popular as it is. We're going to just cut all that out. And in some ways that makes sense. I can understand why they go with the decision. And I'm not saying you need to have gratuitous sort of sex or nudity to sell a show. But I do think in the world that they inhabit, where, it's such a big part of the culture, the different levels of class having different secrets or different fetishes, etc., Not really highlighting any of that, and just focusing on the political intrigue, maybe sort of leaving out, a key element that would be interesting to see. I find it interesting how, Rhaenyra can spread whispers and rumors in the city, and no one seems to know what's going on. Larys and surely other people will know what's happening in the city. They can't be so... Are they so removed and detached that you can, whisper a couple of things to people and all of a sudden you have enough rumors to spark sort of some kind of riot or revolt? That seemed a little bit stretched to me, a little bit reaching, a bit far-fetched as well. And speaking of spreading those rumors, I don't think that the actor, I think it's Sonoya Mizuno, who plays Mysaria, is particularly good. I think when Mysaria's on screen, I don't, she seems to be not a great actress. So, and some of the maybe junior members too as well. I think the leads are strong, but I think outside of that, the acting is not as good, certainly for me, as season 1 of House of the Dragon, and certainly nowhere near the level of Game of Thrones. But, overall I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good second season, not as good as season 1. As I said, a lot of setup for seasons 3 and 4. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree with what I said? Do you find, mainly focusing on the political intrigue and killing of each other and the dragons more interesting? Do you think it's going to be a huge build-up for massive battles in season 3 and 4? And if there's anything that I've said you disagree with, let me know in the comments. Happy to hear everyone out and see what folks think. So there you have it. That's what I think of House of the Dragon Season 2. Hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, like, share, and subscribe. And catch you in the next one.